Hello and welcome back to City Skylines 2. We're on Starfish Point, my very own custom map, and I've got an unlimited budget to build the city of my dreams. What you can see down below, what we're scrolling past in this lovely cinematic, is what we've been building so far, and it all is coming together rather quite nicely. But moving forward, we've got a few things that people have been requesting that we've been meaning to do, but we haven't got round to it. Today is Airport Day. Well, we've got some plans for the airport. Some things are going to work, some things are not. We're just going to try and see what happens. And full disclaimer before we head into it all, I don't actually have any knowledge of airports, so if you see something that isn't quite right, see it, say it, sort it, just let me know and maybe I'll consider changing it. Maybe I'll just leave it because it looks nice. Who knows? If you're from the UK, you would have just understood that reference. Anyway, yes, airports. So we've got a lot of things that we need to do. We need to plan where to have it. I know I've already hinted at where I want it, but whether that will work, I don't think so. So yes, a lot of plans with the infrastructure, sorting that out, and then hopefully making some progress and actually building an airport. So the original plan that we had was we were going to build a airport over here. It's a cool location, but I've kind of thought that one, there's not enough space. There's definitely not enough space here to build what we want to build. And two, it doesn't really make sense to have it here. It's so far out of the way. I mean, yeah, it's so far out of the way, but you know, if we start to build a town over there and a town over there, their access to it is going to be horrible. Although the only good thing is there is ease of access to the highway, as you can see here. That's why we built this kind of intersection here. So there's ease of access to this, and the same with the railway line just there. So I mean, it's an alright location, but I don't think it's the one that we want to go with. Especially with this ginormous mountain here, that it just doesn't seem quite right. So I think what actually makes a bit more sense is if we were to have our airport somewhere over here in this rather grand open space. You might be able to tell by the trees I've been placing a few things down just to see how it looks, but I think it could work. I think it might be alright. Obviously, granted, we've got that mountain there, but I'm thinking maybe if we face the runway so that they take off in this direction, hopefully that'll be a little bit better. So once we've kind of built that airport, we can probably start building up the city downtown, downtown, double downtown here. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. I want to build it there, so I think that's what we're going to do. But first things first, we need to sort out a road connection, a decent road connection to get to the highway. Take the highway to the airport. So obviously we've got this main highway which has just been sat here doing nothing for quite a long time, and I think it's about time we kind of get it to some use. What I want to do is probably curve it slightly up more this way, so I'm going to figure out a plan with the highway and then we'll go from there. So the plan, what we kind of want to do is we want to curve it as early as possible, so maybe we still need some off slips and on slips to connect to this part of the city. It might be worth just putting in a small little interchange here, and then just after that, curving it around, kind of bringing it up towards this way. Just link it up to that little road for now, just so that it actually goes somewhere. But I think that will be kind of somewhat of an okay plan. So let's have a little look and let's try and find a way to connect this. Nothing too crazy, just something really simple. He says as the first thing he pulls out is absolutely ginormous. But even if it's just something like this, something really small that will just fit in there, stop spinning, that would be fantastic. Something just sneak in there. Is there anything even smaller? Not really. That's probably about shortest, isn't it? So yeah, what we need to do, right, let's just do this properly, shall we? Let's grab that and draw it all the way back to there. Do the same with this. We'll just leave that surface there for now. So that comes straight off the bridge here, which is going to be weird bringing it in straight into an interchange, but it is what it is. Let's say if we theoretically, you see, that's still going to be a little bit too long, isn't it? But even if we actually drew that back, connected it right up to here, how are we going to get on? It's going to be difficult. I might have to mess around with it. That's a lot shorter, isn't it? But then it eats up a lot of the space over this side, which is a little bit annoying. Maybe like this could potentially work if we drew it all the way back to there. I think that's probably our better bet, isn't it? I'll have a little mess around and see what happens. Right, I've placed down a interchange just to see what happens. It is not a good looking interchange, I can't lie. It does not look great. And we've got a lot of stuff that we need to sort out with said interchange because it's a bit of a mess. For example, this is pretty grim. Don't know how far that actually stretches out to, so we're going to have to try and draw this back reasonably without destroying the entirety of what we've placed down already. So let's just start by drawing this back. Oh, is it actually just easier to get rid of it? Yeah, go on. Live your life on the edge, don't tell anyone. Haha, si senor, that's so much better. Ooh, don't want that. Right. Now, we've obviously got to sort these lanes out because it went a little bit weird from where we kind of began. So what we need to do, we want to try and keep... Yeah, this is the problem. We want that to be a designated lane, don't we? So really, we needed... Yeah, this is annoying. We need that like that to begin with, because then that works pretty nicely. That's fine like that, and then that is also fine like that. It's just this one which is slightly off and not quite right. Why is that? Okay, I'm hoping this shouldn't be too difficult to fix. Let's just leave that as that, and let's start by trying to make these the right way. Have I messed this up already? No, yeah, because that definitely needs to be 2 in the middle. Sorry, I just need to bring it over. Is the issue that we're having, and it might not actually let us do it. Right, I'll mess around with this and see how we can actually get it to work. This junction is not agreeing with me at all, so in the bin. And we're gonna go with something else because that one is just not working. So we'll find something else and go from there. Right, so I've gone for this very simple interchange. It's nothing special, but it fits and it does the job how we want it to be. And then we've just got this highway just turning, connecting up to that road. Don't worry about this section here. We'll sort it out at a later date once we decide what we're going to do with the roads cutting through. But I just wanted to connect this up to something so that we've got an entrance for our airport that goes basically directly onto the highway. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to clear the space, so we're going to clear all the trees out first, is the initial plan. To do that, we'll just make this nice and large and start picking up literally all of these trees, just so that we have a lovely humongous area to work in, just so that we can get it right when we want it to be right. I have a rough idea of what I want to do in my head, but I've never actually built an airport before, so you're just going to have to bear with me and pray with me as well that it will look alright. So we'll get rid of all of these surfaces too, because we don't need those. And then what's going on here? Let's just have a little look at what we've got here. So it's relatively flat up until that section there. I also don't know why this road does this, instead of just going, how bizarre. Well, we can sort that out at a later date. But what I'm thinking is the entrance to the highway will be maybe entrance to the highway. So again, entrance to the airport will be maybe about here, and it'll branch up into the airport. Maybe bring it over this way a little bit and go up into there. Now, the airport that I want to use I'm not going to use all the custom decals and all that stuff because, quite frankly, that's not something that I understand well enough for airports to be able to do. So what we want is a normal international airport, like so. And we want to try and straighten it up with our road, which will hopefully work at some point soon. So I'm just trying to think about how we're going to do this, because we want enough distance between these to do what we want to do. So what I think we're probably going to do is we're actually going to flatten that bit out as well, like this. We'll just flatten all of that out for the time being. It might be even a case that we get rid of these roads as well, but we'll figure that out in a minute. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a road out at the 90 degree from here, just so that we can potentially consider aligning the airport nicely. Maybe at an angle like this, but I feel like that's a little bit too meh. Right, let's bring it down. Let's bring it down to probably about here, hopefully. Hopefully that's not too close to everything else. Yeah, it should be fine. So get rid of that bit, and then let's see airport wise, how are we looking? Yeah, I reckon that could potentially go in about there, at that sort of angle. We've got enough clearance this side. We can figure out, we can change this completely, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But that, it's not too far away either. What I did want is to have kind of a double airport, but I just wish that, because I wanted these terminals to be aligned, but then it doesn't quite work that way really, does it? Unless we do something like that, but then that'll just take off straight over the city and it'll look a bit bizarre. Yeah, it's annoying that the way they've done it, and I think the other airport, this airport, is just far too huge to be used in our city. So yes, but potentially I wanted to double it up like that. But even like this, if I did that, it just looks weird, if you know what I mean. So I'm just messing around with a few ideas for our airport entrance. One of them is aligning this junction to fly essentially straight in. So when you come in, you basically just have a straight run straight to the terminal, which would kind of make sense, but hey ho, let's go. That's gone a bit weird now, hasn't it? So let's have a little mess around with that. See if we can make that a little bit more normal again, which was 3-lane in it to here. It's not going to like it, is it? Okay, that fits. Let's just connect it up to see how it will actually look. So in theory that would cross over here, come straight in, have a straight sort of entrance around there. Interesting. Do I like it? No, but I think I can potentially jazz this up and make it look cool. I'm going to need time to think about how we're going to do this to make it look right. Fingers crossed. So let's have a little think. I'm just playing with ideas at the moment to try and get some sort of plan for an entrance in. There's a method to my madness. It makes sense why we're doing it kind of like this, how it's going at the moment. It will hopefully make a bit more sense. Now, if this is an international airport and we have international visitors, we want this to be quite the entrance, or at least you know what I mean. So I'm just going to mess around with kind of the entrance a little bit and see what we can kind of come up with to make it look a little bit nicer, and hopefully we can get something pretty cool in here. So what I'd like to do in this kind of entrance part is just raise the terrain a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but just enough around here just to make it look a little bit cooler. So something like that, and then let's pick a height from within here. What do we think? I reckon probably about there is going to be fine for what I'm after. I'm just going to flatten the rest of that out here. For some reason that doesn't want to join the same height. How strange. Maybe it's something to do with the roads, but I just want to do that for the time being. How high is that? I think that's alright. Okay, this is difficult because I know what I want in my head, but I don't really know how to do it, which is the hardest thing, like putting your thoughts into action. Okay. I'm having to do a lot of messing around with this to try and get it to what I want it to do. It will make sense to you in a minute, hopefully, once we start figuring this stuff out properly. But let's try again with this. If we try and bring that up to a retained wall like that. I don't know what it is with this. I think it might be because of the actual airport asset here. It doesn't want to go all the way up, but that's not a massive problem. We just need to get this section as aligned as possible. Which is good. We only really need to focus on that bit. Fine. Okay, that's alright. Oh, I don't like that though. Why is that doing that? Anything that we can maybe do to change that? No. Unless we do that, then it will get rid of the little hole. How's that looking everywhere else? Yeah, I think that looks fine. Right. Good, so as it's an airport entrance, what I want to do is I want to have like a little plane prop on the entrance, like up here, mounted a little bit, looking pretty cool. So like we've either got that one, we got the jet, or the cargo. I think the cargo is a little bit too big, so I reckon the actual airliner would look pretty cool. So if we popped that somewhere central, maybe when it's slightly angled, it's something like that on the way in. We could probably move that slightly over, then maybe turn it a little bit more kind of like that. Oh, we still need to bring it over here a bit. Like maybe like that. And you get a good view of it as you come in from the side angle like that. I think that could potentially work. Cool, and then we'll need to kind of decorate that prop a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer, because it just looks a little bit weird at the moment, doesn't it? So let's try and decorate around that, and that'll be kind of a nice little entrance piece, as well as this bit will decorate too. So I'm just messing around with some surfaces, potentially some pathways and stuff like that, to try and make this a little bit more unique. It is proving to be slightly more difficult than expected, but like everything in this game, it takes a bit of time, so that's what we'll work with. We'll just kind of go with the flow and hope that we can come up with something that's relatively okay to look at. So what we're going to do, we don't actually want to connect that up with the road, but it wants to do it anyway, which is really annoying. Maybe we should have maybe done the surface afterwards and bring that up towards the road instead. That'd probably make a little bit more sense. Oh, it's all gone now. No dramas. Right, let's try and do this again and see what kind of happens. We essentially want just a curved path that doesn't actually connect to anything. Just at an angle like this. Kind of goes round it. It's annoying that... actually, could we take you and make you elevated? That could actually work. If we could do some sort of footpath or something. Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? So difficult, everybody. What are we ever going to do? Right, let's try and... So if we grabbed it from here, we want that to be elevated. How high are you? Probably sort of that high, isn't it, really? It's not quite the right height. No. Difficult decisions, actually. Quite hard work. How tall are you, Mr. Land? You are 7.44. Okay. That's 7.44. Why does the 5 point something look so high, I ask? That's 5. If we just... Is it because we've turned that to elevated? Oh, difficult. Come on, just link up with your boy. Link up with your boy. Now, that math ain't mathin', son. Let's do 3.5. Back down to 0 or similar. That's about the same height, but then it hits the retained walls. So again, not really any good for us. So we're going to have to try and figure out what we're going to do here and go from there. Right, the next sort of plan was maybe if we added a couple of runaway sections for our public transport, so if they come in here and need to go back out, they can just run away, and it also gives us this platform for the plane. So I think that looks a little bit better. We need to just have a surface now within that, which hopefully maybe if we just put this surface down it could work. Hopefully just make it look a little bit nicer. Potentially if we've got any props that are like spotlights we could lean them up onto it a little bit, make it look a little bit cooler. And go from there. So let's place this surface down and see what it looks like. We're spending far too much time on this little bit of entrance, but I'm hoping that it will look quite cool. Oh, it's a little bit iffy, isn't it? Because of the way that it sits on the... You almost want it to be not covering the retaining wall section, which is annoying with this type of surface because it certainly does sit all the way on it, which is annoying. I prefer it if it just didn't quite sit on it or didn't cover it up, but then it's so fiddly to try and get it right, as you can see there. So maybe we'll use that. It's a little bit too concrete-y as well, in my opinion. So maybe we'll get rid of that and we'll try a different type of surface to put around this and see how it looks. I think this green grass looks a lot better than the other stuff. So let's see what else we can potentially add up here. Might not be an awful lot, to be honest with you. I don't think we should add any urns, to be fair to you. But we can certainly have a little look at potential things that we could build. That would be cool, but maybe if we added one of those there, and one of those here on the entrance. That would look quite nice, just to decorate it a little bit. About there, kind of on our entrances. Yeah, I think that looks quite cool. Entrances and exits, that's nice. We wanted little lights. It would probably be easier if I just typed lights into the thing. What about these? How would these look up here? Kind of placed around the edge. Not sure just yet, not sure. What else have we got that could potentially go in? I'm not entirely sure. We might as well just have a little browse and then go from there. So these are pretty much exactly what I kind of wanted, but they're so small that it's pretty much pointless. You won't even be able to see them, but I'm going to put them down anyway, and then between you and I, we know that there are some lovely spotlights lighting up our plane. So put them down, and it is what it is. Just like that. Just to kind of give our plane a little bit of nice looking light when it gets dark. Not that we ever go to the darkness, but it is what it is. It's nice to have. So a few more of those around there will be fantastic. Like that, like that, that, and like that. Just a few little floodlights on there. Cool, right. I might think about whether we place something along the top here. That's a little bit too weird. I think all of this is a little bit too bizarre. Because you wouldn't really have like a hedge at the top of here, would you? Or would you? It might look alright. Let's try again. Let's actually just try it and see what it looks like, because you never know. Because it does just feel a little bit empty at the moment. We just do that all the way around to here, all the way around to that end there, and put it all the way along the back, like so, and then like so. Never know, it might look alright, it might not, we don't know until we try. And then try to link that up to there. What does that look like? I think that looks okay. It makes it feel less empty. Makes it feel a little bit less empty. Can I not move these with move it? That's a little bit annoying, isn't it? They're not quite right. I guess it will have to do. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better, to be fair. It's a little bit better. Maybe a couple of bushes just to blend it in. Again, nothing too crazy, just literally some small sort of bushes along the outside of it, like that. And then the same kind of along that side. Do we want to bring them all the way around? Like that? Yeah, I think that looks fine. I don't think we're going over the top. I think that's nice and subtle, just to decorate it a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer. Yeah, good. Alright, that's quite a nice little entrance if you ask me. I think that's quite cool. The next thing we're working on is this little surface space within the entrance and exit. So we're going to test out a couple of different surfaces. We're going to try and see what potentially a more lighter sort of concrete looks like. We'll give that a go and see how it looks, because it might look alright, it might not, but you don't know until you know. So that's what we're going to try and go with. We'll just, you know, we'll hook it up to actually about here for now, then we'll do a separate piece within there. Yeah, I think that's fine. With a couple decorations in there, I think that'll be alright. I don't think that's too bad at all. Yeah, trust the process. It doesn't look pretty at the moment, but just it'll be fine. Don't worry. Don't lose any sleep. It'll be fine. Good. Don't worry. Do the same all the way down to there. A slightly different shade. It's not a different shade. It just looks slightly different, doesn't it? What we'll do then is we'll get rid of that. We'll just drag this one out so that it doesn't look too different. Drag that to about here, and then to about there. Hopefully that should all be the same shade then. Fill in a little bit of gap there. See, this is why I'm trying to be a little bit more careful, because this surface in particular just covers everything. So if you take it over too far, it will cover the roads and all of that stuff. So I'm just trying to not make it too skew, if you know what I mean. It might even be worth us changing these to keys, at least in this portion here. It just helps blend it in a little bit, I reckon. How about that section? Yeah, I think that's fine. It might help us blend that little bit in a bit there, you know what I mean? But it just does mean we're going to have to pull that back slightly, and then that back slightly too, just to try and align it to there. We're going to be here for hours trying to get this right, aren't we? Stop focusing on the things that people are never going to see, he says. What a disaster. Just be nice. Let me be. You know, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just don't look at it, and it'll be fine. Good. See, that's not even on there, but it's still over the top, like that. How strange. But it's fine. It's all right like that. That's okay. No problem at all. We need to kind of decorate this section again as well. So we'll try and do that. We'll probably have maybe this bit grass, and then that bit through the middle into this section here. I'm getting carried away and surfacing the entire new highway that we've built, but don't worry, it'll be worth it. I won't make you watch me do it. I'll bring you back when we're actually doing something useful towards the airport. But this always happens. I just get carried away because it's so much fun / just want it to be correct. Autosave. So I won't make you watch me do all of this. I'm trying to decorate this sort of area here. I placed these pools down, but I don't think they kind of work too well. I'm hoping that maybe if we had basically a line of these, it might look a little bit better. Something like that on the way in, I think would look quite cool. I think that's a decent little addition. Yeah, I think they fit fair enough. I think that's alright, that's not too bad. And then maybe if we just added a few plants and stuff around that sort of entrance, it might look a little bit nicer, I think. So let's try and get some of our plants. Something like these. These are quite a decent size. Something like that. What about these ones? These ones probably are the better sort of size. So let's try and see if we could put these along the back, and hopefully that might look alright. If we get curve, try to curve them with the road. I don't think it's going to quite curve as we want it to. Let's have a little look. No, that's grim, disgusting. What are you, props? Are you buildings? What are you, plants? Of course you are. Of course you're plants. Why wouldn't you be? Um, Let's try that again. Better distance. Slightly less. Maybe sort of like that sort of distance. Like that. And then maybe down the edge here as well. Could that work? I feel like down to here is probably reasonable. But any more than that's probably going to be a bit strange. So let's try that. And then let's try and curve this one around to about here. And if we just add a couple across there, what does that look like? Not sure if that's just a bit weird. I mean, it's not awful. It looks better than it was before, but it's still a bit ugly, isn't it? It's very ugly. Okay, I'm happy with that entrance just for the time being. That will remain like that, but I'm sure we'll think of something and change it. But I think for the time being, that's quite a cool looking entrance. Nice little way to come into the airport. So yeah, happy with that. Fantastic. Right, next thing, we need to figure out what we're doing over here. We obviously want to upgrade the business class lounge, which is fantastic. We don't want the cargo terminal, but we want the airport services. So that adds a couple of good things to it, a couple of cool stuff to it. But we need to kind of get an idea of what we want to do over in this section around here. So the first thing that I kind of want to do is I want to have a drop-off point, drop-off and pick-up point, just along the main section here. So let's walk that, let's drop right at the end of that pathway, so that one can drop right there. This will be a little drop-off and pick-up point for us. A one-way alley can probably bring that connection, I want to say from here, somehow connect it up. Maybe if we just brought it out of there and bring it down to somewhere about there and rotate that way. That can just be kind of a pick up and drop off point entrance, which should be hopefully okay. And we'll do the same from here. See if we can just curve that into there as well. How's the distance looking? That probably looks about right, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that looks good enough. So that'll be a simple little pick up and drop off point. That seems a little good enough for me. What I want to do is try and see if we could potentially move that node so it's central to the entrance there. Like that. I think that's it's kind of like a taxi rank. Obviously we've got this car park there, but that will probably help us out just a little bit, and potentially we could draw a couple of pathways, one that just goes straight through like that, straight into there, which would be fantastic. We might even consider, while we're here, just pulling that same pathway out, because we're gonna need it, I'm sure. But that will be a good little extra place. We'll keep that as a pedestrian crossing because I assume the traffic is going to be quite chaotic over here. Now, what are we thinking with this road then? Do we want to upgrade that? I don't think we do. What does it look like? Nah. No, I don't know. We're just going to add a couple of stands in the middle here. Kind of like that. Hopefully that'll make it look okay. Do we want them to be connected? Yeah, I think it makes sense to have them somewhat connected. So if we just put a few of these between, our roads, that would be quite nice to look at. So just a few down like that, and then a few down this end too. That would. These are obviously not functioning. These are just for show. For show. And we want probably one more. That's about right, isn't it? Yeah, it's right enough. So we have those in the middle there. We need some sort of surface to go underneath them so that they look like they're meant to be there. Maybe just a standard concrete surface like this could potentially do the trick. Let's have a look. We'll test out on this side before we commit. Yeah, I think that works perfectly fine. And we'll do the same just like that. Just like that. That looks good, and that looks like it's a little stand for maybe people to stand under when it's raining. I don't know, you tell me. You're the one that's building it, not me. But yeah, that looks quite cool. And then potentially we could just grass out the rest of this to make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, that entrance already looks so much better than it did before. I think that looks really fantastic. Obviously we've still got loads to do. But I'm happy with the way that that's kind of ended up. That looks pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, I can't stop looking at it. I think it looks cool. But once we start building it all and integrate it into all of this, it will look even better, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Who knows? My next stop is buses. Trying to potentially put a bus station into this area too. So we're just going to try and create a bus-only lane. Goes around like that. Does that look okay? I think that looks fantastic. That will run alongside here as well. We ideally need that to be 2 lanes, but you know, it'll be fine. And let's have a look. Do we want it 2 lanes? We could, but it's going to look slightly bizarre. What about if we... There's too much snapping going on really, isn't there, for us to be able to do that. The highways are probably the best bet, but again, not really gonna work. It would probably work if we upgraded all of this to 3 lane. It kind of needs it. But do I want that as a 3 lane there as well? What will it look like on the entrance here? I mean, it probably would work, wouldn't it? We did that, and then that'll give us a little bit more room here to potentially bring a couple lanes in there, but that'll have to be highway because we're not just creating pavement or sidewalk, whatever you want to call it. Something like that. Oh dear, that doesn't look great. That does not look great. Let's see if we can make it look great. We don't need that there for sure. For sure. Yeah, no, it's just not very good, is it? Not gonna lie. It's just not very good. It is what it is. Let's try and replace that again with that. That's fine, and we might actually just put this back to the highway just like that. Hopefully that'll be fine. Yeah, that's okay, whatever, that's alright. Now we need some sort of bus station here, which we probably can just use these ones because I think these are definitely the best. For some reason it doesn't like this bus only road. It never clips onto it, and I'm pretty sure if I was to place that right on top of it, might not even have a road connection, which would be extremely frustrating. He says, I mean, it doesn't have a road connection there, but then if we do, it does have one. That's fine. It's just a bit strange, it seems. Okay, so we want some sort of bus terminal here. Probably just on this side, to be honest with you. just have the bus terminal on that side. So what I might do is I'm just going to get rid of that for some reason. Don't know why, because I'm going to place it back down. We've also got this bus terminal, but I don't feel like it fits the theme. So what we'll do is we'll actually have bus terminals potentially along here. We want it to kind of look like it's one large terminal, but it doesn't really get away with that, do we? I mean, it kind of does. It's not too bad. What are the upgrades on this again? Extra platforms. Got that as well, and then that is for taxis. I mean, if that didn't have those signs there, that could actually fit there pretty well. Got any sort of wiggle room there? We could potentially do that. And then that. And that. What does that look like? Is that too much? That might be too much. Even if we put the extra platforms on all of these. It looks alright. I think I'm going to mess around with it and see if I can get it to look a little bit nicer. So I'm just working on trying to integrate some parking into our area. It kind of makes sense to have the multi-storey parking. It just kind of fits the sort of theme that we're going for. And often with your short stay or long stay parking, you'll have the entrance away from the normal terminal. So we've got a nice early entrance that curves round into the sort of parking area. We obviously want said entrance to come out somewhere, probably somewhere pretty simple, just like that. But we also kind of want it to, if you picked up your car, we want you to just loop back round as well, kind of like that, where you just go straight in and straight out. It kind of makes sense to me to have something similar, kind of like that sort of idea, but not quite like that. So I'm gonna try, and what I want to do is I just want to retaining wall, get rid of that, and I want to try and get back onto this road and just kind of straighten it all the way out so we kind of know where it runs to, just like that. And we'll obviously change the direction because it's to go that way, like that. Is that about right? Yeah, that's a straight road. Fantastic. So we want something like that, and then this needs to eventually curve round and become one, basically. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that as well. It's all very much going on now, isn't it? There's a lot to do, a lot to think about. So we'll try and muster up a plan about how we're going to sort all this out in just a second. Now, there are a couple of things that I would like to do down here. I'm not sure whether they'll work though, because one of them is having a footway or a footbridge, whatever you want to call it, that goes basically like this. So it looks like it's a direct footway across to the car parks. That's one thing that I want to do. So something like that. It kind of looks like it's all one big connection, one easy connection to and from the car parks. That's one thing that I am intrigued to do. But I think it's going to be one or the other, because the other thing is have this nice little area, this little cover over the top of this section here. I'm thinking that if we have this and then we put the footway through, it's going to look very bizarre because the footway is going to be cutting straight through. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what we want to do just yet. I might start off with potentially this one, and just kind of see how we get on and see how it looks, because it might look all right with just this. So for example, just having that all the way across, all the way to the end here, just giving it kind of a cover sort of vibe to it. I think that would look quite cool. Yeah, I think that's probably the better bet, to be honest. I think that would look quite nice. So maybe let's do that. What's the placement like for this? So we want that to probably go over just slightly so we're not in the parking spaces. Probably like that's probably the best bet. What we're looking like on this side doesn't really matter as much on that side. And then essentially I want to cover that all the way for at least this drop-off pickup area, so that people don't get too wet, and it adds a little bit of difference, a little bit of aesthetic to it as well. So I'm going to do that and see how we get on. I think that looks pretty awesome. That's a nice little cover entrance sort of thing, just for that little portion there that we've got. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think that looks quite cool. Obviously it looks cool zoomed in, but when you zoom out a bit it looks a little bit weird, but I think it looks quite nice if you ask me. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I might see what happens if we do put a footway through, just out of pure curiosity. To be honest with you, it doesn't look that bad. Obviously it's not going to function, but just as like an aesthetic point, I actually think that'll be okay. And if we even just dragged that out a little bit more across this one as well, it looks like it connects basically all of the car parks up, and I think that's quite cool. So you know what, although it's not technically functioning and it's a bit weird, I think it looks alright. I don't think that's too bad at all. Yeah, just looks like it goes straight in, goes straight through into the car parks. I'm happy with how that's turning out. This is going to be a long video, by the way. The next thing I'm doing is, ironically, I'm using the business lounge prop to try and connect it up to the end here, and then kind of give kind of an idea of having just an extra little bit of building to fill in a little bit of space here. And that's kind of what I can't speak. That's kind of what I want to do. So I want to grab a pathway, preferably that connects to something that's pre-done. So maybe like that. That'll link straight into there nicely. And we'll probably put one that goes behind here, and that could link into here. I'm just going to draw it out for the time being while we figure out a kind of plan, and then potentially have a little pathway. No, we don't need that to go across there. We can decorate from there, I reckon. Maybe just draw that down. To about there. What's that looking like? No. So we've got a little fence underneath there. So we want to try and get rid of this pathway just like that, and then we can kind of figure out a plan with a few surfaces of what we want to do here. But it just adds a little bit extra, if you know what I mean. Just looks a little bit different. So we're going to try and decorate this just like that. I think that looks pretty good. That kind of makes it feel a little bit more full in this section here. Looks like it walks from the car park down here as well, across the road, all that cool stuff. So I think that looks a lot nicer. A little few car parks down the back as well. Autosave. But yeah, I think that looks better than it did. Right, God, how long we've been recording? We've not really done an awful lot of stuff, have we? Crikey. But what we have done is certainly coming together quite nicely. We've just added another little thing near the entrance as well, just to kind of fill in a bit of space and make it look a little bit more unique. So we've just added a few parts from the Netherlands pack, just kind of sculptures, that sort of thing, just on this little section on the way in here. So that fills that bit out just enough for us. Now, the next thing that we need to do is train station. We need a train station probably about here. It's quite a nice little way for it to escape over there. and then kind of link back into maybe the main line that runs along here. I'm in two minds. I kind of want it to be a normal sort of size train station. I don't want anything big, I can tell you that much. I just want something kind of normal size, something at this sort of size, but I'm undecided on whether I want to have it elevated or not, because that's elevated and then that could just sneak out and it will go right over the highway as well. But also we could lower it too, so I don't really know. So I'm going to find a train station, and then we're going to think about what we're going to do. Even just a small, simple one, just something like that would be fantastic. Something really small like that. And then if we just move that out the right sort of distance, like that, and then just brought it round and out. But I think, I don't know if that's just, we kind of need a building. There's no upgrades, is there? It's just ticket machines. Okay, maybe we'll figure something different train station out. So I'm just working on a plan to try and get this train line to connect. So current plan is to lower the terrain and then allow the train line to go underneath it, but we're just going to test it out and kind of see what happens, because like anything, it probably won't work first time. So if we just grabbed that like that, it goes down, and now we just need to try and reconnect this back up over here. Hopefully it'll work. Let's have a look. Get rid of those two. I mean, it goes over. Looks alright. It's just that bit there looks a bit strange, doesn't it? So I think maybe we should just pick that back together. Why are you like this? Work, come on! I know you want to. Just be as one. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that bit's elevated. I don't think that really needs to be elevated there. So let's just. I wonder if we can grab that bit. That's going to automatically make a bridge here. And then we just want that to be like that. And there we go. Train line is a little bit too high, which is annoying. So we're going to have to do some adjustments there as well, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so we've added this train station here, which I think looks quite like a nice train station. And then we've got the train line, it goes underneath this road here, retaining wall round, and then goes underneath the highway here, comes up to this junction where it can either shoot left or right. Obviously we haven't connected it up to the city yet, but we will do at some point, but just to give you an idea of what is going on. So I think that looks pretty good if you ask me. Right, where was that weird looking hole thing that I saw? I saw something. Where was it? There, it's a bit skew-if there. There we go. There we go, there we go. Better. Cool, that looks a little bit better. We've got this little road because we needed it to reach out to this car park, so we've got to kind of put something here now. I'm not entirely sure what to put just yet, but I will figure it out and see what we can come up with. So I've made a few changes, as you can probably see, but I think it looks pretty good. So on the entrance, we've still got the plane right as you come in. I think that looks fabulous. That's probably my favourite part. I think that looks really good. And then behind the plane, we now have this small little hotel for people to stay over should they have flights early doors, early in the morning. So that's quite nice. A couple of extra parking spots and a trusty, reliable fire station for any emergencies we may have. Having a look over here, we've got the railway line which cuts through underneath, connects up out there, which I think looks really good. And then the train station, this little park as you come in, again I think that's just quite a nice little addition. And then you come into the kind of main terminal pickup drop-off sort of area, which I think looks really nice because you've got this cover. If you look right in there, you can see that there's various different lanes, different places to park in the parking and drop-off points, which I think all looks pretty good if you ask me. I really like the way that's kind of come out. We've got this bus lane, the little park, bus stations for passengers to go on the bus should they not wish to go on the train, car parking, multi-storey car parking with walkways that go across, which looks really cool. Lots of further parking over out the back here, as you can see, and then another different type of multi-storey car park that we got there. Down in this section, kind of the exit section here, this extra little building that we've got going on there, which is quite nice and designed. We've got a few warehouses up at the top end, and then we've got a firefighting depot just over here as well for any of those mega disasters that we hopefully will never have on our airport. But I think that looks fantastic. I think that's really nice. I really like the way that we've done that. Certainly quite different, quite unique, especially with this entrance here. This is definitely my favourite part. I absolutely love it. But yeah, really happy with the way that's turned out. Obviously we haven't set up any connections and stuff yet, which we'll have to do at a later date. I would say it's a decent distance away from the city. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a nice looking airport if you ask me. Yeah, happy with that, really happy with that. Let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think. I really do like the way that it's come together. It's taken absolutely ages, but we have got there in the end. And finally, just before we go, Awab, as is, if you're watching, shout out to you. I know I promised you a shout out. And you obviously requested an airport, so here you go. Shout out to you, mate. Thanks for commenting on all my videos, and I'll see you all in the next one, hopefully. Good night.